This is Sybert signing into Red Alert 3 on the map Fire Island, and welcome to the For the Win number 21 Finals Best of 5. Our first contestant spawning as the Yellow Allies in the Southwest. We have from teammates, Vindies. That is right, his opponent in the Northeast. As the Cyan Empire, it is from Team H2O, Kiro, aka Light, aka Japan, but on the forums and sometimes in-game, he is known as Kiro. That's the name I know him by, so that is the name I will be calling him. However, I believe that he is playing as Light on this account, but we do have, it looks like, going to be a 4 racks opener out of Kiro. And actually, interestingly enough, only a single racks out of Vindies. However, he does have to be careful, although we don't have any Imperial Warriors on the right side of the map just quite yet. We also don't have any Peacekeepers. It's actually just pure, a second engineer actually going to be coming out. It's pure Javelin Troopers, which of course will help him deal with the, Dojo Cores, but not so much the Imperial Warriors. The Javelin Troopers are going to have to hut it on back home. And from here, we do have the single refinery, but only a single barracks, which means that Vindies probably isn't going to be looking to end the game super early on. He's not going for dual racks, Peacekeeper pressure, or anything like that. He is going to be following it up with a Riptide, potentially 2, because he's got those 2 engineers. And Kiro, as you can see, he's grabbed one of those oil derricks. Vindies has grabbed the second, but Kiro actually looking to grab himself a second oil derrick. And then let's go ahead and check what Kiro is up to. Looks like he went dual refinery, keeping his barracks along, and actually, he's beginning to pump out tank busters. So if he continues this, yeah, he's probably going to be going for some 5 tank busters inside of that sudden transport, although he could be going for something else. We do have a little bit heavier of infantry focus, but one thing that I'm not sure that I agree with out of Kiro is he's actually brought his infantry back to his main base. And a lot of times you'll see players use them to sort of stage and sort of box off the enemy and sort of cut the map in half early on. They'll leave some Imperial Warriors around the map or some Peacekeepers or Conscripts just to give them a bit of map vision, a bit of map control. And actually, the engineer has already hopped out. We'll have to see. Yeah, there is going to be Peacekeepers and also Javelin Troopers inside of these buildings. Kiro does know that this is happening, so actually he's concentrated his forces. That sudden transport is now at Tengu, and it should be full of either 5 or 3 tank busters, sometimes even 4. But oh, we do have Vindies going to be revealing his hand. He's brought the Vindicators as well along for the battle, and the Apollo is here to help contest with some of these Tengus, as we do have engagements going to be heading out all around the map. And actually, oh, a perfect pull there from Vindies. The tank busters are all getting annihilated. That entire anti-tank force that Kiro had was just completely wiped out by the Peacekeepers of Vindies. Vindies will be losing one of the Riptides, but I don't think it actually has any units inside of it. A great move there by Vindies, some almost perfect control. But he may actually be backed into a corner. We'll have to see, can he actually deal with these forces? Kiro going to be expending quite a bit of money with that early forces, but then he wasn't able to really do anything with it. And now the tank busters are going to be all annihilated, but the Tengus are still here. The Riptide does go down, but the Peacekeepers with his shield is going to be doing pretty good. And actually, the bomb splitting absolutely perfect by Vindies as he establishes a 3rd base on the left side of the map. In the north, we do have more of these Tengus had better take care of these Javelin Troopers darn quick. Could have potentially switched that over to shield mode to absorb a couple of more shots with that Peacekeeper. And Vindies has actually held on to both of these oil derricks, but he hasn't actually held them for long enough. Another sudden transport, curiously enough, out of Kiro. He hasn't held those oil derricks long enough for them to actually be worth capturing for the second time. However, with this dojo, and actually this sudden transport may have an engineer inside of it to go ahead and recap that second oil derrick. Although in Vindies' main, Kiro being super annoying with that. And actually going to be claiming that engineer. A nice move there by Vindies, annihilating that engineer before he was able to grab it. I'm not sure if it jumped out of the sudden transport or not. But man, that burst drone being so annoying, sitting on top of that ore collector, going to be stopping that harvesting a little bit there. Cleaning up the dogs, or the Doge, as it could be called, is going to be a nice move there. Just denying that scouting. The 3rd base is going to have to go up at some point for Kiro, although we do have an Apollo or 2 going to be getting some kills. 1 Tengu, 2 Tengus are now down. That is not Tango down, that is Tengu down. And a couple of Vindicators could be getting caught out of position. However, we do have Javelin Troopers going to be on the defensive line. And actually going for that oil derrick may be the way to go. As again, these players are expending so much money trying to capture and recapture all of these oil derricks. We do have the harassment, and it looks like that engineer will be safe. Probably the Peacekeeper able to eliminate eliminate the Imperial Warrior. I know these names. The Cryocopter is now out on the field, and it looks like these... Oh, where are the Apollos? They need to stay with this army. The transform does indeed happen. The Tengus are going to be getting some shots off, but it's not nearly enough firepower to deal with the air army out of Vindies. He's eliminated all 6 of those Tengus that Kiro had. Kiro went for a 3rd refinery. He doesn't have practically any army at all. This is absolutely a terrible position as the first sell off that dojo, Kiro. Just sell off the dojo. You need the money now. We've got Javelin Troopers, Peacekeepers, Vindicators, and Apollos. Oh my gosh, Red Alert 3 just... No, it did not crash. That was weird. It just froze. I thought for sure it was going to just straight up crash there. Kiro has almost 0 army units. If this was a modern RTS with a proper replay support, I would bring up the army supply and be like, look at this. Kiro has like literally 2 Tengus out on the field, while Vindies has got a much superior army, a far superior army. Point defense drones are going to be going down, but is it going to be enough to save Kiro? I don't think so, as one of them does get shrunk down and could be going for the harass, but really one Tengu can be dealt with quite readily as laser lock is going to be activated here, but multi-gunner turrets could be deployed back home. This single Tengu gets eliminated. The body is going to be crashing down, doesn't do anything. The Mecha Bay is going to be getting eliminated here. Even the MCV could be getting taken out as Vindicators and the Cryocopter are going to be making short work of this base. Vindies taking game number 1 over Light, aka Kiro, who fell down a little bit there, but it wasn't necessarily poor play which cost him the game. It was Vindies was just playing a bit better, sniping that early sudden transport and all 5 of those tank busters. He did damage to 1 Riptide. That was the cost ratio of those tank busters. 0 actual dollars. $0 for that. I'm pretty sure the sudden transport got eliminated. I think it did. I'm not entirely sure. It may have escaped. But at any rate, those 5 tank busters all got eliminated, and they didn't kill a single thing. And of course, that did delay the Tengus a little bit there. And of course, as Empire, you need those Tengus. Those are your first line of early defense. Game number 2 is going to be coming right up. This is a best of 5. We're guaranteed 3 games. How many will we see? Well, actually, I do know how many we'll see because I wrote an article on this tournament. So I actually already know how this series ends, but I don't know how the individual games go. I meant to say that at the beginning, but I didn't actually. So I'm saying it now. Game number 2 is coming right up. And that game number 2 is taking us to Temple Prime, where on the left side spawning as the Cyan Empire, we have Kiro. Currently down 1 game. He's going to have to be bringing the pain. This was his map choice. However, his opponent currently up 1 game from teammates. It is Vindies! That is right, Vindies going to be opening up with that single Rax. Will he be adding on a second Rax over here to try to double pump and grab both of the oil derricks? We're going to have to see, but it looks like he will not. He's going to be going for that refinery after the Rax, which is not too unusual. However, we do have, it looks like 3 Rax. Yeah, it is going to be a 3 Rax opener from our good friend Kiro. This, of course, allows you to put on a little bit of pressure, build some nice Imperial Warriors, while potentially securing both of these oil derricks. However, top allied players know that as long as you bring a couple of Javelin Troopers and some nice micro, you're going to have no problems dealing with that. Just, oh, don't get your dog run over, dealing with that 1 single dojo core. That dog is going to be escaping out onto the water because dogs are awesome. I don't know why. I don't want to start like a dogs versus cat fight in the comments. Please don't do that. Once again, these burst drones from Kiro being super annoying, super useful, and if that thing stays on there for too much longer, that was a sentence. If the burst drone stays on that ore collector for too much longer before these Javelin Troopers eliminate it, that burst drone is definitely going to be paying for itself. It probably like doubles the time of that ore collector. Are we actually going to be seeing another naval yard? We've got Javelin Troopers pooling near the back of the base. However, it could have been just no. We do have an engineer. It is going to be a naval yard. Oh my gosh. Vindies, what do you have in store for us? A spy out this early in the game. Hasn't even been 2 minutes. This is such a fast spy. Are we going to be seeing Vindies with a colossal grab of units. As you can see, he's disguised it as a Peacekeeper. We're going to have to keep our eyes on that guy. We could be seeing a couple of Riptides. Most likely 2 Riptides will be produced to go ahead and accommodate all of these infantry in the north. The Engineer is going to be grabbing that oil derrick. Kiro has grabbed both of them. And of course, Vindies got the $500 cash back on that one. That oil derrick has paid for itself for Vindies. This oil derrick has paid for itself for Kiro. Kiro going to be sending in that burst drone for the scout potentially. However, I do not think at any point he got actual eyes on that spy. Inside of this Riptide, I do believe, is the spy. He has to be very careful with this. And if Kiro is like somehow psychic, this would be a little bit of a tell. He'd be like, man, I'm getting some bad psychic juju from that Riptide, and I think it's a spy, because why, or an Engineer, because why else would you not just drop whatever's inside of that Riptide in? That's the thing, is if you know that there's something inside of there, it has to be, because you can't, oh, an Assault Destroyer actually out already. I did not see that coming. I will be quite honest, I did not see the Assault Destroyer transition coming. If you know that there's units inside of that, inside of the Riptide, and your opponent does not pull them out of the Riptide in an engagement, you have to wonder, okay, what exactly is in that Riptide? Is there an Engineer in there? Maybe it's just full of Javelin Troopers. But of course, that the prerequisite for that sort of thinking is that you have to know that there is stuff inside of that Riptide. And oh, we could have a turret push coming out of Vindies. Is this actually going to be working? Kiro is not nearly in as bad of a position as he was before. However, Vindies, we've seen him in games in the past take a single spy and turn the tide of an entire game, grabbing something like 5 to 8 Tengus at a time. It was insane. Tank Busters going to be heading into those civilian structures. They're going to be doing their best to hold down the fort. The MCV is here. The turret is not building. This is going to be a delayed turret push. What is actually going to be going on? It starts right there. The Riptide, will it be getting eliminated? What is inside of this Riptide? I'm not actually sure if there's anything of value inside of these Riptides, because there's 3 of them on the field now. A nice pull there. Nice micro from Vindies. Let's turn on the health bar so that we can see the important stuff. But excellent micro from Kiro. Wait a second, wasn't that guy inside of the ground? However, there goes the Assault Destroyer, the real beef of this army. The Engineers, are they going to be here to go ahead and get the capture? Their spy is mixed in here as well. The Engineer is going to be just sitting around, not doing a whole lot. And there is going to be purchase of one of the Tsunami tanks, which is currently not got its gun going. However, a nice crush there from Kiro is going to be eliminated, one of those tank busters. However, a second tank buster does get eliminated. The micro of Vindies is handling the situation quite well. Kiro does run over the Engineer, a pivotal point there. But these Riptides are going to be offloading Javelin Troopers, and here come the Imperial Warriors, going to be getting the crush there. The micro is actually kind of intense from these players. Some great moves there, but Kiro is going to be falling down a little bit here as his ore collector is not crushing any of those units. The laser lock able to take down that Mecha Bay, and this battle is absolutely insane as we have a multi-gunner turret going to be taking out an elite ore collector as he gets off a ton of damage. And these 2 MCVs going to be jousting in the middle of the main base of Kiro. What is this game? I don't actually know what just happened. That was absolutely insane. That battle on the east side of the island. East side, baby. We've got the fire sale. As Vindies, he's got no income. He's got a multi-gunner turret, though. And my gosh, that was absolutely insane. I love this, going for the Docks Core. He doesn't know how bad of a situation Vindies is actually in at this point. Vindies, do you have enough money? We got $3 sitting in the bank. Oh, Vindies has... No, Vindies, stop repairing. He had enough money for an Engineer. He does not at this point. He is going to be calling in those support powers, but it isn't going to be enough. This is such a... Oh, this is such a bad situation. As you can see, he used it. Tried to trap the ore collector to cut off the income of his opponent, but it did not work. Vindies. He doesn't like Temple Prime. I can guess that much. A fully heroic Imperial Warrior going to be moving out, striking down that Peacekeeper, second Peacekeeper on the east side of the map. On the west side, that is where our attention is turned, as this refinery is going to be getting targeted down. But really, all he has to do is sell off those wall segments and take down that Peacekeeper. How does he actually have the money for this? He stopped repairing the turret because it's back up to full health as he gets the sell-off on that. Oh, man, this is just a bad situation to be in for Vindies. Can he turn it around with a multi-gunner Peacekeeper turret? I don't think so, as Vindies is going to be taking the loss right there. If somehow Kiro was the one who left that game, that would be absolutely insane. Vindies going to be dropping his first map. That was an absolutely insane game. This series, these players, they've got the micro like I haven't seen in a couple of games for sure. Sometimes it seems like players just love their A move because they're good enough to just straight up beat their opponents. And so some of the recent replays that I've seen, it's just like, man, these players are so good that they don't even need to micro at times. However, these two players going to be controlling quite well in that game. That was actually pretty darn awesome to see those sort of engagements. And personally, they weren't perfectly handled, but personally, I can't do much better. However, these players not playing perfectly. Vindies just having a ton of fun. That was an awesome game. Game number 3 is coming right up. And game 3 is taking us to Infinity Isle, spawning on the west side of this wonderful island. It is Vindies! And his opponent tying the series up with some fantastic play in that last game, Kiro! I might have just peaked my mic a little bit there and made my neighbors hate me even more. But that's okay. Dog going to be coming out from Vindies. He's opened up pretty standard. He's got his engineer on the way, which is always good, while we do have, it looks like, a 3 racks opener from Kiro. Pretty standard stuff there for both of these players, following up with both of those refineries. No third refinery is on the way, but also no power plant just yet. We'll have to see what Kiro's follow-up is going to be. Of course, in these early moments, you've only got so many options. It looks like it is going to be a second refinery before any sort of shenanigans out of Vindies. He does have his oil derrick a fair bit sooner than his opponent, but not so much sooner that it's a big deal. Interestingly enough, we don't have, this is actually kind of curious, we don't have Kiro moving out super early with his dojo. He's actually going to be pooling up some forces with his dojo. Interestingly enough, a lot of players just sort of send it out so early on that he just gets eliminated. They're like, hey, you're not going for a crazy rush, I know that, but I also lost a dojo core. It's just one of those things that it's sort of, oh, the Riptide does get spotted immediately, and the Burst Drone jumps on top of it. We do have Javelin Troopers going to be rallied down to the south. They are going to be going ahead and jumping inside of the Javelin Trooper, and it does get spotted immediately by that Burst Drone. It also does get taken out. So Kiro will definitely know that this is happening, and his response is going to have to be mix in a couple of Tank Busters, but he already went for the Mecha Bay. He's already going to be looking to establish himself on that ridge. Do not go for a refinery. Oh, that's 2,500 credits of units that you could have spent if that's a refinery. We do have an engineer that gets sniped, 500 credits down the drain right there, and we do have Imperial Warriors going to be trading pretty ineffectively with these Riptides, but they are going to be slowing down this force. They are going to be, oh, this Imperial Warrior does not get any shots off. Nice control there by Vindies. He is going to be almost losing a Riptide there. That's dangerously close, and the Riptides do protect those Javelin Troopers quite well. That was actually really nice by Kiro, going to be delaying that push significantly. And Vindies may not actually be putting on a whole lot of pressure, except for with his Vindicators and Apollos, which are now out. Do we actually have Eminence's wall swag making an appearance in a game without Eminence, as the second power plant does go down? This is Eminence's wall swag build. And the Apollo may actually be getting, oh, he catches the first Tengu. Oh, Kiro. No, Kiro. What is going on? The wall does get canceled. The first Tengu does go down. This is not a good situation to be in. Not at all. Do we have a second Apollo on the field? Not just yet, but it probably is going to be on the way. Not a good situation to be in. The dog is going to be camping at that 4th refinery location. Of course, both of these players going to be sitting pretty on their 3 refineries. And that water expansion is going to be getting spotted by Kiro, but will he actually be losing this Tengu? I should think so. It does transform. Is there a multi-gunner turret? The MCV is on the move. There will not be one for probably about 30 seconds, but the Vindicator is out on the field. We've got 2 Vindicators. Is the second Apollo up? Yes, it now is, so that airfield is full. The Javelin Troopers going to be moving in here. The Riptides are going to have to control perfectly to deal with both, not only the Ore Collector, but the Imperial Warriors as well, but perfect laser locking. Vindies with the commanding control on this game, deleting that 1 refinery, will be giving him a nice advantage. However, taking down this dojo core before losing too many units is absolutely essential. And when this ore collector explodes, is it going to be taking down some of these units? It does take down a Riptide and also a Javelin Trooper. This will be dealt with after heavy losses by Kiro. He's got tsunami tanks on the field, but he doesn't have anything to hold the front of the base. So if there's any pressure from Vindies, Kiro could be in a lot of trouble. 3 base allies, 3 refinery allies versus 2 refinery empire is not a good situation to be in. Economically, Kiro at a huge disadvantage. Not only is it lost mining time right now, but it's 2,500 credits if he wants to rebuild that refinery. We have 4 aircraft on the field for Vindies. That is exactly the situation he wants to be in. He's done damage with those aircraft, and yet he has taken no direct damage in terms of lost aircraft. He's taken damage, but he gets free repairs. He's got no problems with that. The wall swag failed in the middle. I'm sorry, Kiro, I didn't mean to be so harsh by saying failed. He chose very strategically to not go for that wall swag. He wanted the opportunity to put on direct pressure through the center ridge of the island, and you can't do that with wall swag. Wall swag kind of depends on doing harassment-based damage and not necessarily directly assaulting through the center ridge of the island. That's more of what your opponent is trying to do, and then you're just like, hey, well, you want to hit me in the center? Well, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and harass your main. I'm going to harass your water expansion. I'm going to harass the ridge if I can. But I'm going to hold you at bay. Your ground forces, all that money you spent on there, you're going to have a hard time dealing with my highly agile, highly mobile army. But one Tengu may be getting eliminated. However, this Apollo could go down. It does get shattered right in the middle of the air right there. As the cryocopter is out a little bit out of position, Kiro, can he get the crushes off that he needs? With one of the tsunami tanks, it's completely shrunk. However, the other one is going to be sitting pretty happy. And, oh, taking out more aircraft is exactly what Kiro needs. Getting these crushes, however, losing the VXs is not what he needs. Both of these players with some critical mistakes here. They're losing so much of their army, and I really like this from Vindies. Eliminating those wall segments, meaning it means that he can't randomly get disrupted. Oh! I actually missed that bit. The fully elite tsunami tank is actually grabbed by Vindies. So he had a spy in there somewhere. He was able to grab that guy, but some nice control by Kiro is going to be eliminating the remainder of those Javelin Troopers. However, the damage output from this now fully heroic tsunami tank is actually kind of insane. The Vindicators are going to be coming in here. They could be going for whatever comes next out of this Mecha Bay, which is going to be a Striker VX. They need to get the damage off. Vindies is going to be microwaving or possibly controlling out there on the water, as an Ohiari mini-sub is going to be doing some damage, harassing that, but we do have the tsunami tank going to be getting eliminated, it looks like. Yeah, that tsunami tank did get eliminated, but it was able to do its job. It was able to take down that harvester, and Kiro may be getting kicked out of this game. He does eliminate that third refinery from Vindies, but Vindies already had a fourth on the ridge. Vindies playing that game out very well. Falling down a little bit there, some definite micro mistakes from both of these players, but the multitasking was really solid throughout this entire match. Throughout this entire series, the multitasking has been better than I often see in games. Man, these two players with some fantastic play. I am really loving this series. These two players evenly matched and playing their hearts out for the win. Number 21. This is why we hold tournaments, people. 12 people show up, but we still get some fantastic finals. Vindies and Kiro showing us some excellent play. Short games. Not so happy about that, but they are fantastic plays, as we're seeing out of these players. Game number 4 is coming right up. This best of 5 series is heating up as Vindies takes another point lead. Can Kiro even things up? We'll have to see. All right, so that does it for these first 3 games. This is going to be Sybert signing out. Thank you very much for watching.